Hello everyone, my name is Adel Marzuki. This is my project for the HAP 752 Advanced Health Informatics in George Mason University. I'm going to do a cross-sectional study seeing the effect of cigarette smoking on mental health. First of all, we know that there is a high rate of smoking in America. Almost 44.3% of all cigarette smokers are consumed by individuals who live with mental illness and/or substance abuse disorders. This study examined the effect of people smoking cigarettes and if there is any association between smoking and receiving mental health treatment and hospitalization among the Americans adults. So we are going to examine if cigarette smoking has a significant association with the individual for receiving treatment or staying overnight in a mental health facility. The CDC, based on several previous researches, claims that adults with mental illnesses or substance use disorders smoke cigarettes more than adults without these disorders. And approximately 1 in 4, around 25% of adults in the US have some form of mental illness or substance use disorder, and these adults consume almost 40% of all cigarettes smoked every day. In this study, we will run our independent statistical analysis to check if there are significant relationship between those variables, and understanding these associations between cigarette smoking and mental illness is of a particular importance within the U.S. public health field. The methods that we are using for this study, first of all, the data was obtained from the 2016 National Survey on Drug Use and Health from NSDUH website. Survey questions were administered using computer-assisted interviewing, specifically a combination of both computer-assisted personal interviewing (CAPI) conducted by the field interviewer and audio-assisted self-interviewing ACASI was used. The outcome variable in the presence of is the presence of a history of smoking and refer to whether the individuals ever smoked cigarettes in their life. We have several independent variables, which include basic demographic variables such as gender, age. We excluded the children from this study, only taking into account age and divided into three categories: 18 to 25, 26 to 34, 35 or older. Race and ethnicity, we have several race groups. We have the Hispanic, non-Hispanic, white, Black, African American, Native American, Native Hawaiian, Asian, and more than one race and other also races were identified in this study. Also, educational attainment, we have several categories. We have individual with less than high school education. We have high school grads. We have individual who graduated from some colleges or associates colleges. We have also college grads. Health status for the individual were obtained. We and divided in four categories according to their response: excellent health, very good health, and fair and poor health. Also, employment status, whether the individual is a full-time employee or part-time or unemployed. For the mental health part of our study, we have two variables. We obtained whether the individual ever received a mental health treatment or if the individual ever stayed overnight in a mental health facility for treatment. The analysis, all the analysis that is done in this study was conducted using the statistical software Stata 15, and due to the complexity of the survey design, the estimates were weighted using the provided weights within the survey, and the weighted descriptive statistics were conducted individually for all two responses of history of smoking in order to assess the distribution of the stratified sample. Bivariate analysis also were then used to assess significant differences in the distribution of smoking history across the various independent variables, and finally to examine the overall effect of the variables on smoking history. As you can see in this table, we have the descriptive statistic after weighing the data. We can see that there are like 27,723 individuals who are smoker or have a history of smoking, and we have 29,174 individuals who claim that they never smoked in their life. The mental health treatment group, we have those who received it and those who didn't. For those who are smoker, 17.6% did smoke and received mental health treatment, while 57.17% are smoker or did smoke but never received mental health treatment. For the non-smoker group, we have 5.4% who never smoked and received mental health treatment, while we have 19.75% who never smoked and never received mental health treatment. Overnight stay in a mental health ward, we have only around 1% who did smoke and received and stayed overnight, and around 0.29% who never smoked but stayed overnight in mental health. As for those who did not stay in a mental health and smoke, around 60%, while around 39% who never smoked and never stayed in mental health. The age differences for the smoker, we can see that 31% of the smoker are from the age group that are 35 and older, while the non-smokers, we can see that almost from 18 to 25 or 35 or older have the same percentage, almost 15% for both. And for the gender, we can notice that the percentage are almost equal between male and female, although the non-smoker females are like 4% higher than the non-smoker male. Health status, we can see that 18 for the smoker group, we have almost 19% claim that they have good health, while only 10% have excellent health, and 14.25% they said they have only good health, not very good health, while around 6% from the smoker group have poor or fair health, compared to only 3.5% for the non-smoker group who have poor or fair health. Also, we can see in the race or ethnicity group that most of the smoker are from the white race, around 33%, followed by the Hispanic race, around 7%, then followed by the African American race, around 5%. While also this percentage are almost similar in the non-smoker group, we have 26% of the whites are non-smoker, but we can notice that the Hispanic group almost 18%, which is a huge difference from the smoker group, and the African American around 8%. For the marital status, we can see that for those individuals who have never been married, around 25% are smokers and 28% are non-smokers. While for those individuals who are married, almost 22% are smokers, compared to only 13% that are non-smokers. We can see also a difference between the divorced smoker and non-smoker, 6.8% for the smoker group and 2.67% for the non-smoker group. Regarding the employment status, we can see that almost 45.5% from the smoker group are employed, compared to only 24% are non-smoker. While in the unemployed group, we have 5.11% are smokers and almost around 3% that are non-smokers. And finally, for the education levels, we have around 16% of the smokers are college grads, or compared to 10% are non-smokers. And we can see the most percentages for the smokers are of the group, the associate grads, almost around 21%, compared to only 12.7% for the non-smokers group. We can see a high percentage for the high school grads, around almost 16.5% also. Then we did check the correlation, the smoker and non-smoker group compared to the characteristics that we have. And we can see that the mental health treatment is non-significant, have a non-significant correlation between receiving mental health treatment and whether the person is a smoker or non-smokers. While the overnight stay and a mental health ward there is a significant correlation for that with the smoker or non-smoker group. We can see that around 99% of the smoker group did not stay in a mental health ward, compared to only 1.5% who are smokers and did correlate with an overnight mental health. The age group also are a significant correlation with the history of smoking with a different percentage. We can see that 35 or older are of the highest percentage. We have 50.95% for the smoker group and 41.93% for the non-smoker group. And regarding the gender of the individuals, we can see it also has a significant correlation, and the percentage are almost the same in the smoker group, while it is different in the non-smoker group, with 55% going with the female and 44.9% for the male. Regarding the health status of the individuals, it's also a significant correlation. We have the highest percentage in the smoking group with the people who claim that they have a very good health, around 38%, while in the non-smoker group it's around 39%. And for the race, it's also a significant correlation. We have highest percentage also with non-Hispanic whites. You can see it's around 68% for the smoker group and 50% for the non-smoker group, followed by the Hispanic with the 13.9% in the smoker group and 21.71% in the non-smoker group, followed by the African American, then by the people who claim that they have more than one race, then followed by the Asian, then the Native Hawaiian, then the Native American. Regarding the marital status, it's also a significant correlation. We can see that the highest percentage coming from the people who have never been married, 44.5% for the smoker group and 62.81% for the non-smoker group. While for the married individuals, we can see that it's around 40% for the smoker group and 29% for the non-smoker group. Finally, the employment status, we can see that employed individual have the highest percentage. It's around 73.18% for the smoker group, compared to only 65.37% for the non-smoker group, and this correlation is also significant. And regarding the education level, with the correlation that is also significant, we can see the highest percentage coming from the associate degree, 34.64% for the smoker group and 32.66% for the non-smoker group, followed by the college grad, followed by the high school grad, then by the individual who have less than high school education. Finally, this is the results of the binary logistic regression for the association between the mental health treatment and history of smoking, or the association between the overnight stay in mental health facility or the history of smoking. The association was not statistically significant. For the history of smoking and age, we can see that people with 26 to 34 years old and 18 to 25 years old are less likely to have a history of smoking compared to the reference group. And male and female ratio was almost equal. And regarding the health status, we can see that people with excellent health are 0.61 less likely to have a history of smoking compared to the very good health, while the people with poor health have around uh, zero point 0.7 ratio less likely to have a history of smoking. And regarding the race and ethnicity, we can see that compared to the Hispanic, which they are the reference group here, we can see that the whites have 70.79 less likely a history of smoking, while the African American community have a 1.7 more likely chance of having a history of smoking, and the Native American have a 6.06 increase in the chances of having a history of smoking. Of course, the native Hawaiian and the Asian community, the sample for them was very small, that it is omitted by the STATA program. Regarding the marital status, compared to the reference group, which they are the individual who have never been married, we can see that the married group has a 1.42 more chance of having a history of smoking, while the divorced individual have 0.48 less likely of a chance of having a history of smoking. And finally, the employment status and the education level. For the employment status, we can see that unemployed individuals have a 1.48 more likely to have a history of smoking compared to the reference group, which are the employed individual, while the part-time employed are almost having the same ratio as the employed group. And for the education level, we can see that compared to the associate graduates, college grad have a 0.82 less likely chance of having a history of smoking, while individuals who have less than a high school education are 1.31 chance of having a history of smoking. Finally, the conclusion of this study that there are no statistically significant association found between history of smoking and receiving mental health treatment or staying overnight in a health treatment facility. This study did not address the presence of a mental health disability, which according to previous literature has a significant association to cigarette smoking. So we recommend that further analysis of this subject are needed to be performed to further understand such association. Thank you, and if you have any question, please contact me through my email at George Mason University.